call to order the regular meeting of the Lafayette Township Trustees and Fire District, Tuesday, April 28th at 7 p.m. Roll call.
Balame.
Kittle here. Paroli is here. If everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get into the meeting tonight, we have a special guest with us, Stacy Malakar from the Medina County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I'd like to turn the floor over to her for a few minutes.
Thank you very much. Here you go.
Easy.
All right.
Yeah, you got to be looking at
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the time. And I want to start off by first thanking all of you, the citizens of Lafayette, for your support of providing the support for people with developmental disabilities. It's because of your support with our levy that folks in Medina County are able to live their best lives. There are approximately a little over 1,500 people in Medina County that are eligible for services. That's anywhere from birth to end of life, providing all kinds of services. Early intervention, huge piece. Those are the birth to two, which is a really key factor in building those skills at a very early age, that intervention at an early age that hopefully builds on that, corrects that delay so that they need less services and they're more independent as they grow up. We provide services for housing, help with employment, day programs, personal care, all that good stuff. What I handed out, and I'll leave some for people that are interested, is our annual report from last year. Some of the things I'd like to point out real quick. As I said, we served last year, 1,573 people were eligible for services. That has continually increased. Each year, that number has increased. So there's a continued need for the services. Approximately 820 of those are children, ages 0 to 22, and then 753 are adults, above 22 and older. We have worked with over 400 various providers, whether they're agency providers or independent providers, and these are folks that most live here in Medina County and provide those services, so that is really key. One of the things you probably have noticed is the momentum changing unit. It's particularly at the fair. This is our third year, and so we probably are at a good 30 plus events throughout the year. And again, it's a changing unit that allows people that have mobility issues. It has a adult-sized changing table that moves up and down. It has a Hoyer lift in there with the toilet, the sink. It has a lift so that if you can get into the unit, and we sponsor that at events, and it's a game changer. We have the number on here. Last year alone, we had 1,406 people that either visited or used it. And again, this is for anybody with mobility issue, not just folks with developmental disabilities. So we want to get that out in the community because it's a game changer. It's a way to create inclusion. One of the things I do want to talk about is April is Autism Awareness Month. And we have seen over the years, most recent years, a huge increase in people being diagnosed with autism. I believe as of this year, it's 1 in 36 people have some level of autism. And so we do serve those people. As I mentioned, early intervention, that's one of the key services that we have that we offer to the public for free, making that diagnosis and helping the family and that young child begin their journey on becoming independent. So that's really important. We still operate a school, so we have a small school. We have about 40 kids there, we work through the districts. So again, those are kids with high needs, whether it's medical or behavioral, that smaller classroom really benefits them. Can I answer any questions? I kind of gave you the nickel tour there of some of the services we provide. Again, I would mention, property tax is a huge concern for our community, and all of our services, about 80% of our services are paid with those property tax dollars. So that's where the core of it is. We use those dollars to levy federal funds, with the waivers to bring down federal dollars, but that really is key. The thing I will say about our use of property tax dollars is that our levies are fixed. So when your property increases, our collection does not increase. It's at that level of when it was voted in. I will say that we have not asked for new money for over 20 years. So we have been very careful about how we've used the money and trying to stretch those dollars. So again, we are really appreciative because of your generosity. It has had a huge impact on, people in Granite County with developmental disabilities. It's made all the difference, so I really can't thank you all enough for that. That is really appreciated. Yes?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
For parents who get the diagnosis for autism, do you guys have a method of assisting them with IEPs, or do you guys help the IEPs, or can you direct them to where to get the proper IEP?
Yes and yes. So when they're diagnosed, if a child then becomes eligible, we do have case managers, service and support administrators that can help the parents navigate that. We also fund an ombudsman. They are not a direct staff of ours. We fund them through society, and that ombudsman, free of charge, can go with them to IEP meetings. If they don't have an SSA full-time, or if they would rather somebody else, so absolutely, we can help them navigate that, because that can be overwhelming when you're initially diagnosed and trying to work through that system, and it's an important piece to that child's education.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. Yes?
If you had a request of the township, how could the township help you?
I think, first of all, accepting and acknowledging people with developmental disabilities. They're just like all of us, and I'm sure many of you know somebody that either has a developmental disability or has a loved one that does. So I think it's, just really recognizing that they're people too. They're just like us. Continue to educate yourself, and if you have questions, if you want to come and see our facility over on Windfall, we'd be glad to. And that support, that levy support, that is the lifeline for the services. So, and again, we're always welcome. If you have questions, you can reach out to our center, and we'd be glad to answer them or give you a tour.
I wish there was a way that people would be a little more educated about that, because I see the signs abolish the taxes. They're not understanding what they're for, and I find that very upsetting.
It is. It is. I agree. It's tough, and it's a tough thing because I get it. People are pinched. That increase is tough, financially, but those are vital services. They really are.
And I know that.
Yeah, they make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do.
It's too bad.
What else can I answer for you? Well, I really appreciate your time, and again, I appreciate your support. And please, I'll leave some of these. These are annual reports, so it kind of tells you what we spent, what our budgets are. So if you want to grab some, I will leave some of these for you guys. But again, thank you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
It's a hard thing when people are.
So the first item that we have is the consent agenda, 2 items, the meeting minutes for the regular meeting on April 14th, 2026, and the special meeting on April 20th, 2026. Did you both get a chance to review those?
I did.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item is fiscal reports or fiscal office. We have warrants of the township, ACH and ETFs totaling $8,833.08. Checks totaling $2,088.63 for a total of $10,921.71. We'll submit the payment listing here, but I would make a motion to approve those for the township.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Also on the township side, we have the elected official and zoning inspector payroll for the pay period of April 1st through April 30th. Total amount of $7,617.34, and township employees, service department, zoning secretary, and our admin assistant for the pay period of 4/12/2026 through 4/25/2026. Total is $6,475.57. I would make the motion to approve both of those.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we will add those to the record as well. On the fire district, ACH and ETF payments totaling $3,029.04. Checks totaling $9,131.38 for a total of $12,160.42. I would make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Again, we'll submit that. And then on the fire district side, we have payroll for the pay period of 4/12/2026 through 4/25/2026, and a total of $28,149.12. I would make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, and we will submit those with the minutes as well. The only other thing that we had in here, with both the township and the fire district, we had, then and now purchase orders, to cover, well, Sherry, you wanna just give a quick explanation, the then and nows?
Well, the then and now is basically if you had the money before, but you just didn't have a purchase order open and it wasn't established before the purchase was made. You do a then and now purchase order from the date that they spent it to the date that you certify it, which creates a then and now purchase order. It's just a thing that the state,
And these
they
are
don't
both
want you
for,
opening a purchase, just prove that you have the money.
right, and these are both for tax collection fees, so they're not just our regular, like,
Right,
normal
because
expenditures.
I just didn't have the purchase orders open at that point.
So the reason I bring it up is, one of the things we were discussing earlier is, the Ohio Revised Code, there are a few things that they do specify that you have to do through resolution. Any purchase, or any then and now purchase order over $3,000. So you have to approve a resolution within 30 days. So because it's kind of short rush on the meeting, we'll get a resolution put together for future approval, but that's just so that everybody knows what's in here on both of those. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I know we talked about it at the last meeting, and again, Sherry, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but we got a statement from Bureau of Workers' Comp. We got the true up for 2024, which was the period that we were actually more concerned about possibly not getting reimbursed properly for. We did get a credit for $31,610. So, and that is, again, just for the 24 year, basically.
January 1st, 24, January 1st, 25.
And so they still have to do the same for 25, for 1/1/25 through 1/1/26, because we potentially overpaid that one as well. So we should be getting another pretty significant refund on those, so. That is all I had under fiscal. I didn't have anything for correspondence. Did you guys have anything since the last meeting under there?
No.
So, unresolved business, the first item that we have is the appointment of the official meeting recorder.
Did you guys get a chance to look at the resolution?
I got a chance to kind of glance over it. This is the one you sent this afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did not get a chance to go through it in great
No,
detail.
that's okay. So we can shelve it then until you read it?
Okay, yeah, for discussion at the
Yep.
next meeting, okay. Any further discussion, employee handbook? Any
Okay.
further discussion on maybe when we wanna look at possibly targeting a work session?
We should schedule that for May.
Crazy as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, thoughts? Cause we've got, kinda two projects, so to speak, that'll be on the radar here pretty soon, right? We need to rebid, the depository accounts.
Yeah.
So we'll need to be working on that, and then we'll also need to be getting ready, I mean, it's end of April, beginning of May, the tax budget's due in July.
Right.
Not that, it's,
Yeah,
Tomorrow,
I was gonna bring that up.
yeah, the sooner we start prepping for that, and to help Sherry, the better off, everybody will be, so.
Right.
I don't know where your
Do we
thoughts
wanna
are
get-
on the
We wanna try to
employee
get the
handbook,
employee
like.
handbook taken care of and out of our way, so we're not, yeah. So you're thinking of a work session or
Well,
something?
I do think it's gonna be a bigger conversation than ultimately what we probably wanna sit down and have in an open meeting while we're taking care of the other business. I also think that it's something that we should probably try to involve as many of the staff members as we can. They've already provided a lot of invaluable, feedback on where things are and what they would like to see. So I think maybe finding a time where, I know it's always tough because like evenings work, obviously a little bit better for our schedules, but then for the employees, it's kind of the other way around. So, maybe between, now and let's say Friday, if you guys could both check your schedules for May and maybe suggest if there are any like maybe weekdays where you might be able to carve out some time.
During the day?
Yeah, during the day, and maybe we can try to set something up. I mean, obviously it would still be a public meeting, it would be open to the public, but it would be something where we would be discussing just that, and then hopefully being able to bring in, some of the employees while they're regularly scheduled, so we're not bringing them in on overtime or not giving them an opportunity to provide that feedback. So if by Friday, maybe you guys could give me like 3 recommendations, or if there's any, send me like 2 or 3 dates that definitely work for you, and then if there's any time that's like 100% I'm out of town or I'm not available, try to get me those as well, and then we'll work on getting something together.
Perfect.
Alright, reserve funding, I don't have anything additional from the last meeting. Nick, I know you said you wanted to kind of be able to look over some additional stuff.
Yeah, I looked at some of that, and, it's pretty in-depth. I think what they would provide, I couldn't do on a part-time basis. I was curious of where, are there any other players in the game? Like, are there
Sure.
other, obviously, we got a quote from them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a good price, or if it's just the price.
Sure.
So, I don't know if there's other people that do the same thing that we can maybe talk to also.
I can definitely reach out to some of, the, and I'll botch it off the top of my head, but it was Springfield Township, but anyway, this outfit, they were down at OTA presenting, which is where a lot
That's
of
where
this
you-
stuff comes
that's
from.
kinda where you get the name.
And the township that they've assisted, and sent a bunch of stuff on, actually, I may have here, but either way, I'm sure they did some due diligence as well, so I can reach out and see,
Okay.
who else they might have reached out to, and then also just cursory look,
yeah.
cause you're right.
And
I mean,
I'm not saying that it's a bad price or
You
not
don't
good.
know until you compare.
Yeah,
100%. So we'll go ahead and we'll continue working on that. Public records request and policy handling. So I know we discussed this a little bit briefly, and I guess maybe the first, we've got a public records policy in place, which I think is sufficient. I don't think there's any reasons to mess with it. We had talked about, Kristen had, I think, shared with everybody the spreadsheet that she uses to kind of organize and track the public records as she works with Sherry on them. But one of the things that came up is, we had actually discussed it last year, obviously before either of you were on the board. But as it stands right now, the policy is that Sherry is the only one that has access to that records room, which sometimes makes it a little bit more difficult to pull some of the archived records. And also, maybe kind of outside of the scope of this, but Sherry and I talked about the fact that records room probably needs a little more organization and straightening up to make things a little bit more conducive, and, you know, that would be the perfect type of thing for her to be able to delegate to Chris. So I wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts on, you know, maybe what you're comfortable with, or maybe the best place to start is, Sherry, where do you stand on?
No, I already told you where I stood on it. I don't care if that room's locked or not, there's nothing in there that, anything important's under lock and key that I have. So unless it's, number one, it seems like every time somebody couldn't find someone to put something, they threw it in that room, and it's a disaster, and I'm not cleaning it, cause I don't have time. So number two, if you need to get in there, then I have to find time to come down there to meet you or whoever needs a record. That is right there. And if Kristen is so unorganized, I mean, you can't even make heads or tails of what is where. So that would be a perfect thing for her to do, is organize them one at a time, box up yours that can be boxed up. And I think everybody should have a key. That way, you know, I mean, the personnel files are locked up, I'll have that key. You know, I'll have Kristen can have a key too, because she's my assistant, but other than that, unless you need something out of there, then you have to come to one of us for that, but anything other than that, I don't see the need for it. I mean, like Karen, she needs stuff too, you know, it's like,
Go ahead, Karen.
I was just gonna say, I was looking for some really old records in the BZA of zoning, and I found some of the stuff, and actually we are missing, I think, something with the BZA, but I took a day where Sherry was working, so I was able to get in, but I took all the books out, put them in order, put like labels on them. There were, you know, things were not labeled on that. I have pictures on my phone of what they look like now. You can open up the bin, and the BZA's all there, the zoning commission's all there, and stuff like that. And I concur that is so much stuff in there that is probably redundant, needs organized, and Kristen would be phenomenal at that. You know, it's just gonna take time.
So I just want to clarify 2 points to make sure everybody's on the same page. So everything that you took out of the records room previously, that is all zoning related material.
I didn't take it out, I organized it and left it in there, I was looking for
Oh,
stuff.
so it's still in there?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
she was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
sitting there working while I was there.
yeah,
Because we may want to actually just consolidate that with the rest of the
stuff that's all in,
zoning documents. I mean, the building's obviously secure,
Right.
you know, and there's only a limited number of people that have access to the building, and then obviously, you know, the public is in, but never when there isn't, and then the records room is kind of in a secondary locks, you know, so there isn't public access to that area. I think the only thing I'd also wanna clarify then too is the personnel files. You know, that's obviously maybe the little bit more sensitive type stuff, and I do like the fact that you're the only one with a key there. I don't necessarily foresee an issue with Kristen having access to it, but I do think that if anyone needs access to it other than the two of you, it should go through
Oh, yeah,
through
absolutely.
you. I just don't want it to be a situation where Kristen's ever put in a situation where she has to,
Sure.
cause she answers to all four of us, you know, cause she
I don't
works
know
through.
if I need a key to the personnel files.
Alright, that doesn't matter to me either way, 'cause I can run out and grab it. That doesn't even really come up.
Okay, well, that would be the only, and it wasn't, I just wanna clarify, Kristen, it wasn't
No,
that I
I'd
was
rather
worried
not
about-
have a key to the
Okay.
personnel files.
Alright, but so we're talking about modifying the
Yeah.
records room key policy so that all four elected officials and the administrative assistant have access.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I have one. Why wouldn't you like put a lock on that door? Like right now, I can get on my phone and unlock my door for somebody.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't that work here?
It could,
Good. I'm not trying to lock it on.
it's just an expense.
At the end of the day, you're all elected officials, for God's sake, I mean, anything
Well,
that
we've seen it
missing is
happen
gone
in the
anyway,
past.
so.
We've seen stuff happen in the past there that you
Well,
might,
No, go ahead, I don't mean to cut you
yeah,
off.
no, that's that you might want to do to prevent. I mean, I guess you could try and see what happens, but $200 will get you to do it on your phone.
True, you know,
Right.
but then you're still, I guess,
It's the
I don't
same
know.
thing as everybody having a key.
Right, because
And there
there
might be a
are,
cybersecurity
there
risk.
are, there are cameras, you know, that
Okay.
do that, so nobody, there's actually, the records room is the most secure, like, coverage, there isn't an inch of that room, there's 2 cameras on opposite ends that cover every square foot in there, so, you know, as far as access goes, you know, there wouldn't be they couldn't be tracked down. And again, as we addressed the last meeting, you know, the IT vendor is the only one with access to those as well if they need to pull something. But, you know, the other piece, you know, in doing some, if you read through our employee handbook, it's actually in there that, like, you know, we'll probably need to address it. This is a place where there's some redundancy. It states in there that there isn't a lock in, I forget the exact wording, but it's essentially there isn't a lock on township property that all four of us don't have a key to. So we have kind of conflicting rules as it stands right now, which needs to be addressed. And I do agree with Sherry in the sense that, you know, it would probably make it a lot easier. There are times where, you know, I've needed to ask her for stuff that she has to go down, so it's like, I don't wanna, we're all juggling multiple other schedules, so it's like, you know, if I'm able to work on something, but I have to wait, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but like if the first time that I'm able to get a hold of, you know, a time that we can both be down there is 3 or 4 days, well, now we've just delayed taking care of, you know, things that the township needs to work on, so, you know, I guess where I'm at is, I would be in favor of rescinding, you know, the policy that we have in place currently restricting access. And then, I don't know if Sherry, I don't know how many keys we have to that room currently, or if we need to get a couple extra made,
I have two,
but,
that's the only thing, I don't know if there's any more out there, but I have two.
so if you could, well, I guess,
I could send them back.
are you guys okay?
Yeah, definitely.
I think I do, because Krista and I had a conversation about the room the other day, didn't we? You know, it needs organising, it does need organising, there's a lot of things in there that need doing. I suppose it's more a case of, if we're going in there not to, you know, how are we logging if something does get destroyed, to make sure that logbook gets updated, you know, if we're doing public records, then to make sure all of these things get logged in the right way, so that if things are being moved or photocopied, it's logged, just so that Sherry has a copy of anything we do as a board, if we're allowing, you know, everyone to go in.
Just walk me through, like, what are we concerned about, I guess?
If we are, like we said, there's some things on the retention, things that probably can get rid of at this point though, but ensuring then that we do make sure we fill in the logbook, because we should have a logbook when we destroy records.
Well, hold on, I guess I wanna maybe take a step back, like this wouldn't change any of that, as far as any type of destruction of records of any kind, that should all be, Sherry should be the only one doing any of that. This would just be access to the room, so that like if you need to go pull some old invoices, or you need to find an old contract, or you're looking up, you know, we only keep so many years worth of minutes, you know, in the fiscal office, the rest are in the records room, so if we need to go pull something that's more than, I wanna say probably more than 6 or 7 years old, they're all stored back there. There were plenty of times where we've had to dig things up, because the last time we addressed a certain issue might have been 10, 15, 20 years ago, just because it's not something that's, you know, a normal course of action. So, you know, that would be the reason for having a key to that. Obviously, if you need to make copies of anything, that's perfectly fine, there's no issues there, but nobody should be destroying anything at any time without, you know, Sherry being involved in it and logging it. You're correct there, but that shouldn't be something that, you know, anybody should be worried about, like, us doing individually.
Yeah, no, I just, if Kristen is sorting the room though, and she does come across things that need to be, that is out of the retention now and can be destroyed, is that we do record those things in the right way.
Sure, she would,
Well,
I think the
I don't
expectation
plan-
would be that she would box them
I mean,
for
yeah.
review and
I
destruction,
think at
not,
this point, it's more just organizing it,
yeah, I
once
mean,
it's
it's,
organized, then we can decide at that
What
point to
needs
start
to be-
doing the retention of it.
yeah,
Let's
just
get
organized and,
first, cause there's this, it's crazy back there.
yeah, I will not destroy anything.
so if you guys are okay,
Organization.
I would make the motion to, lift the policy that it's just the fiscal officer that has the key. The 4 elected officials and the administrative assistant would have keys moving forward. Sherry will check and see how many keys need to be duplicated, and then she'll issue accordingly to the 3 of us. And she can get one for Kristen right away. So I guess it's a fairly long motion, but that's the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
While we're on public records, I did get an email earlier today from Sherry about a public records request that had come in last week. from Mr. Kalal, and where's it here, hold on. He had sent a request, I am writing this public record request for any video footage showing trustee Villar redirecting an administration building security camera onto an employee's workspace, as was discussed during the 414 regular meeting. The video footage would have been from prior to 414, likely on or around 4/3/2026. I prefer to receive these records in electronic format. And then there was a response today from trustee Villar. Kristen, IT checked our security camera archives. Please be advised that for the date provided, the township does not have this record. Under the Ohio Revised Code section 14943, a public office is not required to create a record that does not exist or provide a record that it does not maintain. And I'm just curious, well, I guess the first question is, we've already had this request made once and filled. You were copied on the email that it was filled.
No, that's a different date. It was a completely different date that he asked for from the last request.
He asked for I am writing this public record request for any video footage showing trustee Villar redirecting an administration building security camera onto an employee's workspace, as was discussed during the 414 regular meeting. The video footage would have been from prior to 414, likely on or around 4/3. So I guess the question is, what dates did you search or have IT search for the video?
So Keith searched for I think the day and two surrounding those dates. He did look for them. I didn't search for them, Keith did.
But why were those dates selected? I guess I'm confused only because, I mean, you do remember the day you moved the cameras, right?
Not specifically, no, I don't.
So maybe we should do a more extensive search to be able to do, because we clearly have the record.
Yeah, and that's what I talked to Keith about, and I said, you probably have to see when my car was in the parking lot to sort of know whether I was in the building or not in the first place. He has concerns though, because he doesn't want to spend the time going through hours and hours of camera footage.
Sure, so why don't you just tell him when you met Ben and Matt down at the
Because I actually
building?
don't know the date. I don't recall when I did it.
The other question that it brings to mind too is the email from Mr. Kalal was to admin@LafayetteTownship.com. But you were the one that responded to the email saying that you were working on it with Keith. To the best of my knowledge, Kristen's the only one that has access to the admin email.
No, I think we've all got access to it.
No.
Hold on a second. I think it's a mailbox that comes to all of us.
Yeah.
A little bit of confusion.
I could be wrong.
When ours was set up,
I have the email from Mr.
when ours was set up, I think they put it on ours.
Did that come to you or did that come
It
from?
came to admin from Mr. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing his name right, Kalau.
You know, like with the zoning stuff, things come to the zoning inspector, Mr. Wilson, but it also goes to general zoning, and then I get a copy of the email. So I would get a copy of something that goes
That's
to
where you
zoning,
got it.
not specific to Tom. But if it goes to zoning, it goes to both Tom and myself.
Well, I do think it's worth taking a look at, because I did not, and that was never really the intention, as far as I understood it, for the way we set up the email boxes, right? To Karen's point, zoning was set up so that it would be the zoning inspector, the zoning secretary, and the zoning liaison. Same thing with service, it would be the service director, the assistant service director, and the service liaison, so there's some redundancy. I am not on the admin, or ultimately with as many emails as we get, I have no desire to, but I do think it's maybe a project that's worth looking at, because again, we talked about it, Karen, in our zoning meeting about, you know, the potentiality to set up different distribution lists,
Right.
both for the board, like the zoning boards and stuff like that, so, okay.
Yeah, I think I get emails for.
Yeah, I think it's when our
admin,
laptops are
zoning,
given to us.
Maybe service.
Well, it should be different the way that, well, I guess, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I mean, from sunshine law standpoints and limiting discussion, I mean, I think that's kind of why we've always done the liaisons that we have, right? You know, so that the departments have a conduit to be able to discuss what's going on, and then we bring it to the board for us to meet. I think we wanna be careful how many emails we're sending where multiple board members are included in conversations, right? Like, Nick, you're gonna have conversations with chief that are definitely deliberation level conversations about what things the department needs and how to move ahead. You know, and you should be free to have, like, that's how we keep business moving, right? So you're gonna have substantive conversations with him, and it's not, I think we're skirting the lines if we're all copied in on all of those. So, I mean, that's ultimately I guess the biggest concern I have with the way some of the email boxes maybe are set up now is, you know, is are we potentially putting ourselves at jeopardy for crossing those lines on some of those conversations? Just something to think about. I think we can reach out to Keith and get him to give us a summary, because we'll talk about that when KGC comes up. As for the record, obviously, like I said, we did fill that already, so I think if Sherry doesn't have a copy of it from before, I'll go ahead and make sure we get a copy of it so that we can get that records request filled for Mr. Kalau.
I do not.
Okay, I'm sure I've got it somewhere. Next on the list is health insurance renewal, new agent of record. As we discussed at the last meeting, we did switch over to Anthem. Sherry, you wanna kind of maybe just give a quick, you've been working with Scott,
We switched over to medical.
or I'm sorry, Medical Mutual, thank you,
Yes.
from Anthem.
I don't know, what do you want me to say?
We'll just,
Switch. May 1st, we were starting with Medical Mutual at a substantially lower rate than we were paying Anthem. There's been a lot of confusion because it was so, we're trying to get it done in a quick time that, Scott Nasi did a great job getting everything in line and done. We're still waiting, I think, I just got a confirmation earlier on the ancillary, that's good. So we should be good to go, and it is, I mean, Medical Mutual is good, and they're a lot more user-friendly for in-network
Yes.
around our area, you know, when you start getting into the other ones, you know, Medical Mutual is pretty wide for everybody, so I think it's gonna be a good fit. It is definitely lower than what we were paying Anthem, and so I think it was a good idea to switch, honestly. And was there something specific you wanted me to?
no, I think I just wanted you maybe to touch on that piece of it, because you've obviously
Yeah.
been taking the lead on, you know, kind of facilitating, getting it done, getting the benefits package put together for the employees. The other thing that kind of did catch us a little bit off guard, but, you know, just I think to me at least reinforces our decision to maybe bring this back to local servicing. Whether it was just a miss in communication or the way things were explained, our former agent kind of dropped on us, you know, since the last meeting, that the ancillary products, dental, vision, life, those were all
Administered through him.
well administered through him and unable to be transferred anywhere else. But he didn't, anyway. So Scott did send over a proposal earlier today for Humana, which could replace the dental, the vision, and the life, and we've yet to be able to identify what the fourth product we were paying for, that
Is it AD&D?
that AD&D, well, no,
That
it
was
wasn't,
that was accidental, that's an.
there was a,
Dismemberment.
that gap, the gap policy that was on there that was supposed to, the best that we were able to deduce between Scott and I, was that was a policy that's designed to help with employees' out-of-pocket costs, but since the township picks everything up, it's completely redundant. It wasn't a significant policy, but we were spending $15 to $20 a month, I think it wound up being, for something, so there's no need to replace that, basically. So the proposal is for, the Humana health coverage. It's pretty much a apples to apples benefits package. It is a few dollars more expensive, let me see here. For the dental plan is $193.23 a month for the covered employees currently, and the life is $27.75 with basic AD&D for $225.
$2.25.
Yeah, sorry, $2.25. And then, then the vision is $37.65. So the total monthly benefit is $260.88. And I don't have the last bill that we got for them, but I wanna say it was just over 200.
It is, I mean, I can look it up on,
But with the savings from
Yeah.
switching to Med Mutual,
yeah.
Yeah, we're
It's
saving
still-
like $11,000.
right, and this probably adds about I think it calculated between $600 and $700 a year for these benefits.
So that savings is still over $10,000.
Correct. Yep, as the employees are currently constituted. So if you guys are okay with that, I would authorize, switching the ancillary insurance coverages to Humana.
Yes.
Second.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That's all I had under unresolved, and then we have, under new business. Carrie, you sent an email earlier today about the Ballas Road work agreement.
Yeah, so Matt sent that out to us in March for us to sign. And I think in that last meeting, you mentioned that it was supposed to be the commissioners who paid for it and that you would look into that. Matt received a notice from Medina County Engineers Department to ask where our signed form is for it. It's for the purchase of Mr. Cleveland's portion for the Ballas Road culvert to go in.
Well, okay, I think we're maybe confusing two different things. For Mr. Cleveland, we had a work agreement.
Yeah.
We had a work agreement that was because we're gonna be some of the work is gonna be extending onto his property. The easement was for, another parcel, that was the Albrecht.
They're both though, they were both to have easements
Well,
on
we
it,
only-
and then the county did redo
The only bill that we have for an easement was the one for Zachary Albrecht, which is the one we were discussing. We did discuss the fact that the county should be paying for it. Matt did talk to them, it's this one right here, for $219.67. Matt did talk to them and they said, well, they're not sure, just pay it. And I don't know about the rest of you, but the legal agreement says that cost is the responsibility of the Medina County Board of Commissioners. So they either need to supply us with new paperwork, or they need to pay the bill. I'm not comfortable paying an invoice that's listed that it's for somebody else's.
Yeah, when I spoke with them, they said the reason it's written that way, the prosecution always writes it for that, it will never say the township's name on it. And that came from the prosecution's office.
Did they provide that in writing?
No, it was the
Okay, well-
conversation she had.
Again, short of them providing something like that in writing, because I have a funny feeling that they're not gonna provide that in writing, because that doesn't make any sense. I mean, again, we can read it, and we'll read it again for the record. The easement agreement says that Zachary K. Albrecht, unmarried, the grantor for in consideration of $290.67 and for other goods and valuable considerations to him paid by the Board of County Commissioners of Medina County, Ohio. The grantee, the receipt whereof is hereby acknowledged, does hereby grant, bargain, sell, convey, and release to the said grantee, its successors and assignees forever, a perpetual easement and right-of-way of public highway road purposes, in, upon, and over lands hereinafter described. So that's very clearly the Medina County Commissioners. Now, if they wanna provide us with a new one that says that it's our responsibility to pay it, I have no problem paying it. But the idea that that's just the way it is. Now, again, I'm not saying that I don't think the prosecutor's office told you that. I'm just saying that that doesn't make any sense, and I don't think that they would put it in writing. And I'm not sure even if they put it in writing, it should be something that we'd be comfortable with. But they either need to redo that agreement for us, or they need to pay the bill, is my opinion. That's up to you guys if you disagree and you wanna move forward with it, but the work agreement for Mr. Cleveland, we don't have to pay here, that was just,
No,
one,
they're
and I
just
thought,
signing.
yeah, I thought we had discussed it at a previous meeting, but I couldn't find it
I
in the
couldn't
minutes,
find
so.
the card, yeah.
So I guess to separate the two issues, I would approve signing the Ballas Road work agreement for Mr. Cleveland. And then we can get that signed and sent back tomorrow, but the easement issue, I think, needs some additional clarity from the county.
Yeah,
So I'll make the motion to approve the work agreement for the Cleveland property.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'll contact the engineers and the prosecutor's office and to work with them to get them to change it if they will, and if they won't, then it leaves us in.
I don't know why they wouldn't. And again, like I said, I don't wanna argue the merits of whether or not it's something that we should pay, but the paperwork should match.
Should match
You know,
what it
for,
says,
for,
yeah.
for an audit trail, they're gonna ask us why we're paying somebody else's
Yeah.
obligations. Okay. I think you got the next one as well, Carrie.
Yeah, so, it's the interviews, wasn't it? Sorry, the brain
Yeah,
stopped then. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session under the ORC 121.22G for the employment purposes.
Which section?
One,
Which one?
under employment.
Okay. I'll second.
All in favour?
No, you get to
Roll
roll call,
call.
sorry.
Oh, roll call,
Ballard,
yes.
Paroli, yes. Kittle?
Yes.
It is 7:47. We will enter a short executive session. It is 8 o'clock. We are out of executive session. No decisions were made.
I would make the motion to employ Tyler Mills for our full-time service department worker with a pay rate of $25 an hour on 1 week's 40 hours of vacation time, starting when he can make an arrangement with Matt.
Sorry, say that last part.
Starting from when he can make the arrangement with Matt as to when his
Okay.
start date is.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I don't have any questions.
The only thing I would add, normally a new hire would start back at 0 the first year. Obviously, I understand Tyler would be coming from the county. He does have experience. He has worked the township in the past. I do think it's always tough. You know, you get somebody with some experience giving up vacation. I do think we should probably consider maybe putting a 90-day probation period on that. Let him start with the 40 hours of vacation, but you know, he can't take any for the first 90 days. Once, you know, because he'll have to give his notice, and we can't pencil in an exact start date right now. But obviously, 90 days from a start date before he can use any of those. But other than that, that would be the only modification I would make to the motion.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, good with that.
Second.
Okay. Alright, so we have a motion, we have a second, $25 an hour, 40 hours of vacation will carry over, 90 days to use it. Start date will be dependent on his ability to give notice and work with Matt.
Let me clarify that. 90 days before he can use the 40 hours.
Yes,
You said-
correct.
You
Sorry,
said
sorry,
90 days to use it.
Right.
No, sorry, thank you. 90 days before he can use any of the 40 hours he brings over. Alright, so we have a motion, we have a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, Carrie, I think you're still up.
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, we had a resident reach out to us asking for a street light, which would be on 162 Redwood Road and Shadow Creek Drive. I got hold of Ohio Edison. It took a while to get them to come out, and we met with them. I don't know if you saw the picture of to where the location where they would put it. There is a pole there currently, so they could install it. Looking at the costing for it, Ohio Edison's cost came in at $1,780.32. Looking at what we have currently in the township, we have 60 street lights in the township currently, which estimates our last bill was about $660, which is about $11 per light. I don't know how the board feels, whether they would like to install this. We went at night time when we looked at this to see how much light was there, just to kind of get an idea. There isn't enough light with the lights coming from the country club to the light, and it's a high speed. And I did talk to the police as well about the speed limit there and the entrance, and if they've had any incidences. It seems like there has been some things that have flagged up, so I don't know if the board would like to move forward with putting a street light up or not, but that was the information after getting the request in.
So thanks for doing the legwork there and working with Ohio Edison and or First Energy and everybody else. My question, so we have one resident that made this request. How do the rest of the residents feel about it? Is it really a safety concern? I'm not trying to be smart, but do they still put headlights on cars?
No, so what I did do is check other residents as well. I
Okay.
kind of did a little polling to see what the consensus would be. And there are some that have made, unasked prior to this. He wasn't the only resident who would come forward. This is the first time I've had contact with him.
Okay.
He'd made contact and so had someone else prior to this. So I think this is about the fourth person in that road that have come and asked about a lighting on that part of the street. And then I know when I spoke with his children, they're older and they got young children themselves. They also did say, it is a concern because they come over the Rowder Hill so fast. Often there's no lighters there to see the vehicle headlights because it's the dip, the way it is.
Okay.
I guess the only thing I can really add is I know when we were, when we had, sign permits, and we were talking about the country club, and the lighting on the country club, we had a couple of different residents come in from the development and express their concerns over, we're kind of in that, concerns over light pollution, we're kind of in that sweet spot of people move out here even if it's not necessarily the country. I mean, my development's a perfect example, right? It's a development. There's, I'm over in Hunter's Run, and they're 1/4 acre lots, and you've got neighbors, but there's no street lights, and at night it's relatively quiet, and it's, it's like you live out in the country, even though you do still have neighbors, and so I don't, it's balancing that safety concern. I mean, is it dark? Sure. I think though that's the way some people, I'd probably wanna see us maybe find a way to maybe sample a little more formally some of the neighbors over there potentially to see the ones that are gonna be the most directly impacted by it. My gut is, I don't see it having enough of a positive improvement to just add to additional light pollution over there, but, I've been wrong about things before, so, I don't know what,
Yeah, that was my concern too. And luckily we have the Ohio Edison bill for last month, and we spend last month's bill for streetlights is $675. So not only is it a almost $1,800 investment to put the light there, but it's going to add to that monthly bill.
It does, yeah.
Um,
And we have 60 other
It
lights.
will be
So
an
there's
LED
60
light.
There's 60 lights in the township already, yeah.
It will be
so
an
it's
LED
roughly $10
light,
a
so
light.
Yeah.
take a lot, but I think it would be best to somehow pull the residents in that area, at least coming out of, I don't remember their street name there.
Shadow Creek?
Shadow
Shadow
Creek,
Creek.
right.
And get a better consensus instead of 3 or 4 or a couple of different residents before we make the investment. And if it's truly a safety concern, I am.
Yeah, and I think maybe this will piggyback, we were talking at our zoning meeting on Monday, you, Tom and I, about reaching out to like the HOAs and getting
Got it.
more, well, we might be able to do this in conjunction with that, I mean, who better
That's true,
know,
to poll their residents.
to maybe get some feedback from them or to help us with doing that, cause obviously we don't want to go to a huge expense to
Right.
do this, but if we can maybe.
And then we get a bunch of complaints and have to take it down.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so,
I believe the last time this came up, the HOA of the development, it was a different development, was told by the township that they were gonna have to pay for the installation of the streetlight.
I I do
Um,
Was it because because this particular one would actually, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
believe it was gonna be on Ryan, I think it was gonna be over in,
Yeah, well, because the reason I ask is because this particular one is actually would be on the right of way on the country club side of the road, so it wouldn't
got it, okay.
actually be there. So I wasn't sure if maybe that was it, because I know in just obviously in other townships and stuff like that too, they've had issues with that where it's, you know, sometimes the HOA wants them, but ultimately it's the responsibility of the township to maintain them, so there gets to be that disagreement over who's gonna pay for it, who's gonna maintain it, who's gonna pay the upkeep, so that's interesting. That was in, do you remember where you said?
I believe it was Dover Highlands, and it probably would have been about 7 or 8 years ago, and I don't think that it went in, because I think the HOA decided they didn't want it.
And that would have
Right.
probably been on Ryan Road though, like at the
Correct.
entrance area?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
definitely something for us to look at.
You might be able to find that in a minute.
Thank you.
Have you had accidents in that area?
I think they've had near misses.
Near misses.
Near misses, I think that's what.
Karen, go
I'm
ahead.
just wondering if, after the country club building is built and demolished, if they're going to do additional
Parking
lighting
lot light.
in that area as they expand their parking lot, that might affect that too also.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, and it would almost create a redundancy, you know, paying,
Might,
yeah,
Just
something
a
to keep in
thought.
mind. We should have plans on
We have
the
plans.
country club though, right?
We do, yeah. And they're
no,
expanding.
we have plans on the country
The
club
building,
and
but
the
not so much the
building,
parking
but
lot.
remember the parking is still,
To be determined.
right.
Okay. Well, I think we're all in agreement that it's worth doing more due diligence
I
on this
agree.
and potentially considering it, but getting feedback from
Residents.
the direct,
Yeah.
the residents directly in that area
And then maybe
Yep.
even looking into the country club's plans as well.
Okay, I think, just cause I know you've taken a couple of things, lead on a couple of things, I think between Karen and I, we can probably incorporate this in the stuff that we're working on for the HOAs. Assuming we're able to identify who runs the HOA over there. But we'll start with that and we'll report back in 2 weeks. Alright, Nick, you're up.
Yeah, so, I shouldn't say every year, but, the fire chief, Ohio Fire Chief Association has an officer development conference coming up. Chief Kavanaugh reached out and said that he would like to go and take 2 officers. Sorry, I was trying to find my email. The total cost for the conference is $500 is $5 or $550 per attendee,
Okay.
and then we just have to pay for lodging, travel and lodging.
How many days is the conference?
It's 3 days.
Okay.
Well, it'd be 3 night,
Where-
3 night stay, 4 day.
4 days, 3 nights, okay. And where is it?
It's in Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all in, it's gonna be between $5,000 and $6,000 probably with hotels and, travel, hotel, and the conference fee. So, it's $550 for 4 days, and then the hotels, between $200 and $300 per night. For 3 nights, would be around, 9, that's like 6, Chief gave me the wrong numbers. It'd be $600 to $900 per person. So we're looking closer to 4,500 or so. Yeah, 4,350-ish.
Nick, do you remember what we put in the budget for education for him?
I don't, I think that was,
The training, I think we were like 2,500, I thought.
it was more than that.
that was for training,
I think-
that wasn't for.
I think we capped it at 5, I think you rolled it back to 5 if I'm not mistaken, but.
Cause that was just for the training, then you have travel expenses on top. I don't have that with me. I don't have that.
Well, it'll be in the reports.
True, yeah, the vehicle for training.
Should print this smaller.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me wear my glasses.
Training,
Training
services
services.
at 5,000.
Yep. And we have, what did we reserve already? We only have, oh no, I'm sorry, we got 4490 left in there.
So that would be the
Come close.
1650, and then the travel,
Yeah, I mean, are we covering anything for, travel and meals or whatnot for them while they're down there? Are they included in the conference?
there are breakfast and lunches, I think all the meals are included in the conference. I know breakfast and lunches are,
Yeah, cause I was just kinda, working through some numbers, but the conference is obviously 1650 if you figure 300 a night max.
Yeah.
3 nights, 3 people, 2,700.
right,
And then if you give them, a $50 stipend each day for dinner, if they need it, I don't know,
Just so you know that in our employee handbook, the stipend is like $15.
I know.
Okay,
Needs to be revisited.
just, putting it out there.
You traveling a lot?
No, but I read it.
Definitely needs to be addressed.
Yes.
I'm not
So-
sure where you can eat for $15.
The
I
travel
know.
meeting expense
I love how you don't put the walking
is
in
35, so that would be
that would cover,
any meals and then the hotel.
Well, and we have travel and meetings separate from the
Separate from
training, so we could do the training out of,
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
right.
Take whatever the cost of the training comes out of training, anything else comes out of travel and meeting.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, I mean, this is why we pay chief what we pay him, is to manage this kind of stuff. I mean, I'd be okay, did he name who he was taking, or he just wants to be able to pick his 2 favorites?
He needs to check with their availability, but,
Okay.
he did say that, Lieutenant Tara Powell,
Tara Powell.
she, applied for a scholarship, and her trip, if she's awarded that, it would be paid for by, we wouldn't have to pay for that.
Okay. Do you know when he has to have a decision on?
Yeah, what did he say here? He did not tell me, but he said that the rooms fill up quick.
Well, and that's what I was saying, so I guess my thoughts on it are, if you're comfortable with it, is, we've appropriated the money, we know where we can expend the funds for, for the conference itself, and then also for travel and meals.
Right.
I would be okay with authorizing up to $5,000 total for this training. And I would say, so that, I would leave it to, I would recommend we leave it to your discretion as the liaison over there to have final approval on who he takes. Obviously, it should be one of the officers or somebody who's gonna really benefit for it. So if none of their schedules jive, I don't, and not that I think chief would, but I just don't want us taking just somebody to
Yeah,
fill
just to fill
the
a
slot.
slot.
So I would make the motion to approve $5,000 for the Ohio Fire Chief Association Officer Development Conference, up to 3 members of the department, 2 members plus chief.
Correct.
And we'll designate authority to trustee Kittle as the fire liaison to give final approval on, the two attendees. Correct.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alright, the next item is, the community event, family movie night, so Kristen has been doing a ton of work on this. I sent you guys a kind of a summary, and, just to go over the details real quick, let me pull up that email that I sent you guys. So, we do have one sponsor currently, we're still looking for more sponsors. National Regional Design Mart donated $100. I'm not sure if Kristen received that yet, but
I did.
she did. All right, perfect. So we're looking for additional sponsors, whether it's personal community members or businesses. So that's open. We do have 2 food trucks that are signed up, Something Poppin' from the square. They're gonna bring popcorn. And then Kona Ice will bring Kona Ice.
Nice.
So they'll be there as well. So those are our 2 food truck vendors. We don't wanna invite too many people, so we're only gonna stick with 2 vendors, because we don't know how many people are gonna attend it, and we wanna make it worthwhile for the vendors. So we're only inviting those 2 vendors. As far as, we're gonna have the event July 17th at the town hall, where, probably on the ball fields. The ball fields have porta potties, so we have that covered. We'll probably talk to the service department and try to see if we can get some extra trash cans set up. But we'll probably also wanna talk to the porta pot vendor and see if we can just get a good cleaning that day before, just so we have clean facilities for people that are coming out. Parking will be in the town hall parking lot.
We should probably have the service department, potentially set up, we've got that extra gravel lot too,
Gravel
just in
lot.
case we need extra parking, cause it
Yeah.
gets pretty full, especially when they got
Oh, yeah.
ball games going on down there, so depending on how many people show up,
Up
we
front.
could, yeah, over by like where the salt bin is, and
Yeah.
we'll wanna probably rope off or mark off some areas so that they're away from the equipment or whatnot,
Right.
but that should give us a decent amount of additional parking if needed as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Carrie did reach out to the baseball league just to make sure that
Didn't have
we wouldn't interfere with them, and she said that if they even had a game that day, they would be wrapped up by 8:30 at the latest, and that's the time people would start showing up for the movie, because it'll be at dusk. Let me see here. We have decided to, as long as you guys agree with it, we would like to show,
Don't say the movie.
I can't say,
No, you can't say until we get the rights.
okay,
And we want it to be a surprise.
oh, got it.
I just stopped you from like getting a lot. No. Yeah, but no, you can't say it until we get the rights.
Okay,
That's part of like the guy told me.
all right, well,
We can tell them, I'll tell them privately.
So let's get to the big thing here, what's
Yeah, so-
what's the budget we need to approve if we wanna do this?
yes, we would need, for the movie rights, a screen, a projector, and then we'll need a stand for two stands, one for the projector, one for the laptop. We were talking about, $876. I would say no more than 1,000
For everything?
Yeah,
for it.
And then whatever we get, if we get additional sponsors.
Yeah, so
That would
correct. So
reduce
the,
that.
and the rights is only for 50. So the rest of that is for everything else that it'd be a one-time purchase and then we have it. So
Okay,
the
so we can do
screen, the
future,
projector, the
right.
holders for the, screen. So in the future, then we have those for next year or at
Other
the end of
events.
summer if we wanna do another one or whatever.
In case
we
the
don't-
meetings get too packed, we can stream them on the big
Yeah.
screen outside.
There you go.
Yeah.
No,
So currently, the projected total expense is $876. We have a $100 donation already, so really, we're only spending $776. I would round that up in case we got it. I would just say $1,000, no more than $1,000. Because there might be some other small fees that we're not thinking of.
yeah, and do we have, where are we taking it out of? Do we still have it in the special events budget?
Yeah, we do have the
Yeah.
events budget.
Just double check. We use the OPWC money.
$7,500 is what we started with. I don't know what's.
What's the account code?
1,000, 110, 599, 9920.
There we go.
We spent some for, did you spend any for the
I-
bunny?
I don't think
Easter.
so. There shouldn't be anything out of that so far.
$5.99.
It's not $599.20, we wound up having to move it somewhere.
Yeah, we took that, we did something there from.
Here you go, no, it's up, it's, 110,500, 9920, and we do have 7,500 there.
I was gonna say, I shouldn't have spent anything yet.
Yeah, I didn't think we spent anything. We had 2 line items, and I
Right.
can't get rid of them, surprisingly enough.
It was on the final,
Okay.
it was just one of the few
Yeah.
adjustments on that final appropriations, but, yeah, so we're good there, so, did you make the motion?
I'll make a motion to have a community movie night and to allocate up to $1,000 for supplies, screen, projector.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Alright. We already took care of the records room key policy. The only other two small things that I have for tonight, we discussed at the last meeting, our zoning secretary and members of both of our zoning boards interviewed the candidates that we had for replacement for the zoning commission and also for alternates for the Board of Zoning Appeals. As we discussed, the recommendation of that committee was that we appoint Tim Hughes, who's with us tonight, as our newest member of the zoning commission. This would be to fill the term vacated by
Yeah.
trustee Kittle when he was appointed to be trustee. So that was the term that commenced on January 1st, 2023, extending through December 31st of 2027. So I would present resolution 2026-33, a resolution appointing a member to the Lafayette Township Zoning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Nick Kittle. And again, that would be for Tim Hughes. I would make the motion to approve the resolution. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call. Villar?
Yes.
Kittle?
Yes.
Broly, yes. Mr. Hughes, thank you for stepping up. We look forward to having you on the board. Let's see. And then the second item is the other two members that were interviewed, Mr. Charles Picola and Catherine Coe. They were recommended as alternates to the Board of Zoning Appeals. That would bring our Board of Zoning Appeals to full.
No. Charles BZA, Catherine Zoning Commission, because you already have one alternate on the BZA.
Oh, that's right, we have
Yes.
moved Praisler, that threw
Yep,
me off.
yep.
Alright, well then I'm gonna have to modify and add an additional resolution, because we have two separate boards. So, when do they meet again? They're both,
We meet, the second Tuesday will be the zoning commission, which will be the same night you guys meet, right?
right, alright, so then let's do.
Just go ahead and make another resolution and just.
Yeah, I will.
Read it like that and then. type
So
it
we'll
in.
leave resolution 2026-34 for the Board of Zoning Appeals alternate, which will be Charles Picola.
Right.
Which does fill out that board. So I would make the motion, and that would be for commencing immediately, running through the end of the year, December
Right.
31st, 2026. So I would make the motion to approve resolution 2026-34.
I'll second.
Roll call, Villar,
Yes.
Kittle,
Yes.
Roll, yes. And then I will type up quickly, because we have one we can copy, resolution 2026-35, which would be appointing an alternate to the zoning commission, Catherine Coe.
Yeah, you got it.
To commence immediately and serve through December 31st of 2026. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Villar,
Yes.
Kittle,
Yes.
Broly, yes. The only other thing that we missed going through stuff that we talked about last time, but I do think maybe there's some more conversation to have with Chief, is we talked about the Blue Technologies, the copier.
Right.
You know, I know he's got a bunch of stuff going on, but I kinda asked him to maybe put something together for us to get a better idea. I know one of the main reasons for doing it is to reduce the redundancy of multiple printers in the facility that all require different ink cartridges, a couple $100 a fill here and there. I do think, as it stands right now, you know, I think our copy bill for the township was like $100.
Right.
You know, so, and that's everything for the township, including zoning, and so I don't imagine the fire department probably would be any more than that, possibly less. But I'd like to get a little bit better handle on the numbers instead of just assuming that consolidating
Right. Yeah,
makes sense.
I did talk to him a little bit last week about it. We did go through some receipts or on print cartridges and stuff and how much they're spending a year, and it looks like it's somewhere around $1,500 a year. Or
On ink cartridges?
Ink cartridges. So, we need to do some more due diligence, but, and then I wanted to apply those or compare those to the rates that we're paying and see what,
Yeah,
see what comes out.
because a newer machine would be a little bit more efficient and cost less early on.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just that upfront cost of,
If you wouldn't mind then, you wanna take, kinda lead on doing some of those numbers. The other thing that I think we didn't discuss the last time when we brought it up, but I'd like to look at is obviously like right now, the printer, you know, that we currently have, or the multi-use machine, or you wanna call it, it's more than a printer. That is township property. I mean, we have separate books and that kinda stuff, so, if we can either look at just leasing a new machine and starting a new account up here for them, and then the township can do what it wants to do, cause it's not like it needs to be replaced right away. If we wanna go with the route of the township purchasing it, cause I know we have a little more room in the township budget, I do think we should probably somehow value that machine and have the fire district purchase it, you know, for whatever the remaining value is. I mean, it's probably nominal, $1,000, $2,000, something like that, but just so that there's a paper trail, or the board can look at just doing it as a donation to the fire district. We can do both, but
okay.
we probably wanna have something to memorialize how
Right.
the equipment went
Get
from
to
one,
it.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. So if you wanna kinda maybe put all that together and then maybe come with a proposal of what we wanna do going forward to the next meeting, alright, thank
One
you.
way to cut down the expenses on that is to quit printing everything in color,
Mhm.
that doesn't need to be printed in color.
Right.
Because we run into that problem even, I mean, I do even here too, cause if I don't if I don't go in there and actually
Yeah.
switch it, it prints in color, and that
Yeah.
costs you 600 copy versus like one cent.
1.5 or one, yeah.
Less than-
And I wonder too, like, that might be something we can reach out to the Blue Technologies guy too, cause he was mentioning when I talked to
Set
him,
our
well,
default.
just so that, well, one, setting your default, but obviously a lot of that's on your computer itself, and some stuff cause I don't remember to switch it off when I do one, but I'm fairly certain that there are internal controls that we can have set on that, so that like, it defaults to like, hey, you gotta put a code in, and it's not necessarily so much to put the code in because you're trying to not let people do it, but if you have to put a code in before it'll print in color, you're not accidentally printing
And color.
your 35-page document that's perfectly fine to be black and white
It's all black and
in
white.
color, right, so maybe something just to look at internally on that. Administrative announcements, the only one I have is township cleanup days, April 20th to June 19th, so they're underway. I know Kristen's been passing a lot of those out, but
Yeah, just,
any reminders you wanna,
yes, you can only pick up your own voucher. You can't like bring your streets, licenses.
I can't get the whole development,
No, everybody has to come get their own. Sorry.
and you have to live in the township or the village.
Correct.
And we have had a resident who reached out because it's outside of the hours, so if there are some residents. who
Yeah.
can, Yes, I've gone down to the building to help
Yep.
out, so we can. work.
Yeah, if
One-
they can't come at certain days or times, just
Yeah.
send an email and we'll work it out.
We'll try to do the best we
Mhm,
can.
And
What about
I
them today?
brought them to the meetings too. Some
Yeah,
copies,
and Kristen had mentioned, and I should announce that, Kristen will have them at the meetings for people that maybe can't stop in during the day. Stop up a few minutes before the meeting if you don't wanna stick around, she'll give you one beforehand, you don't have to stay for the whole thing, but, anything else that we need to discuss, did we miss anything?
No.
Alright, well then I would open the floor for public comment. All yours.
See, I don't get to come to these meetings that much anymore. Karen Schoonover, 7780 Coon Club Road, and on the agenda, you guys went over the blankets and purchase orders, and the then and now purchase orders. Were there actually something that we got that I missed that I wasn't aware of? Is that why we were discussing those?
No, it was the tax collection fees for the county.
Okay,
I just didn't have it was appropriated, I just never opened up the purchase order, cause it doesn't happen until April, and I just,
got it. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing it.
Yeah, and that's what we
No.
mentioned, that we have to prepare a resolution for the next meeting to formally adopt it, because two of the then and nows are over $3,000,
Got it.
so.
So then my other question, kind of on that thing, there was an article in the Gazette about Cloverleaf suing the auditor's office for interest that is due them because of the pipeline. Are we due any of that interest?
It's worth looking into.
Okay. That's it.
Anyone else? Quiet night. Well then, if nobody else has anything, trustee Ballard, do you have anything that you would like to add?
No?
I'm all good. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I know, one of the things that we hit on, and I know there've been some questions that have come in, we're working on streamlining the public records policy, or at least, not so much the policy, like I said, that's pretty well set, but, our processing of it, so, if anybody's having any questions or concerns about getting public records, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of the four of us, or Kristen, because a lot of times, she's the one that's actually helping to compile all those and get those out. Everybody up here is trying to do the best they can to get you the documents that you want. One thing that I've noticed is, sometimes records come in and it's somewhat requests come in and it's somewhat unclear exactly what you're looking for. And so I've always tried to, and I think I don't want to speak for the rest of us up here, but, you should get a response back maybe for clarification. Please don't take that the wrong way. We're just trying to make sure, we could drop a whole bunch of things on you if your request is somewhat vague, but if we know exactly what you're looking for, it makes it a lot easier for us to facilitate getting those things to you in a timely manner. So, your help and your patience is appreciated. Outside of that, if nobody else has anything, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
It's 8:36, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We are done. Thank you, everyone.
The red button.
This one?